Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Tri Lestari and the other member Hikmah Nurmala. We're from Group A, Class 4SG A. We want to presentation our ISA school home security system based on Raspberry Pi and Telegram Messenger. Let's do the topic. First, background. The increase in crime that afflicts households, such as theft and robbery, often occurs even though it is fluctuating. Many theft occurs when the home owner is traveled and left home for a long time. Although in some residentials neighborhoods already have security guards, but human limitation can be an opening for the perpetrator of theft. Various studies offer systems that are able to increase the level of security inside home. Definition: home security system work on the simple concept of securing entry point into a home with sensors that communicate with a control panel or command center installed in a convenient location somewhere in the home. System component. First, Raspberry Pi Model B from third generation. It adds wireless LAN and Bluetooth connectivity, making it ideal solution for powerful connected design. Extra data storage in this project added 32 GB to temporarily store photos and video from the camera Raspberry Pi use. Second, PIR or motion sensor allow you to sense motion, almost always used to detect whether a human has moved in or out of the sensor's range. They are small, inexpensive, lower power, and easy to use. Third, Raspicam or Raspberry Pi camera module used for take a photo or video. Raspicam has a resolution 5 megapixel and support video resolution of 720 pixel, 1080 pixel, and VGA 90. Telegram, open source chatting application using the MT-Proto protocol that has been tested with a secure end-to-end encryption process. It has a bot feature that can be integrated with a various services via the internet. Cell-based to translate command from the user to be able understood by the kernel on an operating system, compatible with Linux operating system and Unix. In this study, used because of its advantage such as the number of command facilities is very large and easy to use. Python support functional programming model, procedural, and object-oriented, has many language libraries for various application needs, and can integrate it with other applications written in another programming language. Stages of manufacture. When the system is active and the PIR sensor does not detect human objects, the system will into standby. When detects a movement, the camera will immediately take a photo, then save the photo to external memory and send photo and notification to the user via Telegram. Telegram bot will offer two options for the next stage: take a photo again or take a video. If the user chooses one, the bot gives an order to the Raspberry Pi to take a photo or video and send the result to the user. If there is no command, the system will return to standby.
Diagram system. The PIR sensor module used is the HCSR 501 type. The output of the sensor is in digital form so that it can be directly connected to the GPIO pins on the module Raspberry Pi. The Raspberry Pi Type RAP 1.3 camera is connected to the CSI camera serial interface. Port consists of 15 pins on the Raspberry Pi. Raspberry Pi 3 Model B reads data from the VIR sensor, then process it data accessing the Telegram message server to inform user of the response of the sensor. Internet as a link between the Raspberry Pi and Telegram messengers so that can connect to the Telegram Messenger server. Smartphones that have Telegram Messenger installed as the user interface to the internet so that it can monitor home security from a remote place. The VIR sensor module uses the HCSR 501 type. Output is in digital form so that it can be directly connected to the GPIO pin on the Raspberry Pi module. The Raspberry Pi Type RAP 1.3 camera is connected to the SCI port, which consists of 15 pins on the Raspberry Pi. The camera function to take photos every time a movement is detected or record the surroundings at, and can take photos and videos via command from Telegram messengers. Raspberry Pi 3 Module B reads data from the VIR sensor, then process the data, access the Telegram Messenger server to inform the user of the response from the sensor. The internet is a link between the Raspberry Pi and Telegram Messenger so that it can connect to the Telegram Messenger server. Using the internet fiber to the home or FTTH network owned by PT Telkom, the Telegram Messenger server is a storage place for detect photos and videos. A smartphone that has Telegram Messenger installed as user interface to the internet so that it can monitor home security from a remote place.
System workflow flowchart. The PR sensor detects any movement that passes through the sensor that send logic 1 to the Raspberry Pi so that it can be processed. The camera will be triggered to take a photo and send the result to the Raspberry Pi because the PIR sensor send logic 1 to the Raspberry Pi. Raspberry Pi sends early detection, photos, and notification to the server Telegram Messenger before sending the user. Telegram Messenger server send notification and photo to user via Telegram application on smartphone. User receive notification and early detection photo. User will to accept the choice of whether to request the next photo or request a video or ignore it. Then the user request is forwarded to the Raspberry Pi. Raspberry Pi instruct the camera to take a picture or video. The camera send a photo or video to the Raspberry Pi. Next, send a photo and video to Telegram server forwarding to user.
Home security system result. This is a testing distance of a VIR sensor. From the table above, it can be concluded that the maximum distance the VIR sensor can be worked to the detect movement is 6 meter. This is can because it is at a distance the 6 meter success rate for the VIR sensor is still at 100%. At a distance of 6 and 8, the VIR sensor meter can still detect movement, but the success rate is below 90 and at a distance of more than 8 meters, the VIR sensor cannot detect any movement again. This is a figure of VRS sensor sensitivity angle. Uh, it can be explained that the laying of the controller device and also the VRS sensor above is embedded in the ceiling of the house where the VRR sensor emits a data reading signal to the direction below it with a pattern. The transmitter can be either elliptical or all circular. With this capability, the object will not only be read in the horizontal direction, but will allow it to be read in the vertical direction. As for the previous test, uh, it has been found that object can only be read at a maximum distance of 6 meter more than the accuracy is less than 100%. This indicates that at a distance of more than 6 meters, there is possible sensor misread or failed to detect. In this case, the distance is 6 meters is the optimum distance of readings. Therefore, the position sensor must be placed on a height of no more than 6 meters from the object to be detected during. This is figure VRR sensor sensitivity angles. Figure 1 show an illustration of testing object detection from various angle horizontal. In figure 1, it illustration the detect object was position is seen from on. And figure 2 show the testing of the VIR sensor reach angle in the vertical direction, wherein the test the object is to the left on the VIR sensor or 900 to its original position. This is a table PIL sensor range angle testing. The table above show that the object detection test is where the object is detected are not always the same at the corners. This shows that basically the object reading pattern by the PIR sensor is not circular but rather elliptical. This is a sensitivity or of PIR sensor to room temperature and passing object. Based on the table above, it can be concluded that in experiment above a room temperature of 18 to 30 Celsius did not have a significant effect on the success of the VIR sensor in detecting its presence, a movement, or the object. This is table of overall system testing. From the result of the table above, it can be concluded that the percentage rate of the success of the entire system reach 100%. This can be seen because when the object is within the range of the sensor, then sensor and cameras become active. Messages are sent directly to the user. Telegram users messengers is also capable of making photo or videos requests. In the final stage of photo and videos requests, success sent and up to the user.
Conclusion: this security system makes use of a PIR sensor that can detect a presence of humans, so that if anything suspicious happens, the user can immediately contact the local police or security. The reason for using photos or videos is for clarify the subject of the perpetrator who was caught on camera, so that the identification process in the future is easy. Thank you for your attention. Sorry if we have misunderstood on this presentation. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.